Good morning, welcome to Friday's live trading. This is Kim Watson speaking for Ezeetrader. So, it's funny, I did a video update this morning. I do for those that are trading the markets throughout the day, and the title had to be, I wish I stayed in bed, or I should have stayed in bed. I looked at these markets first thing and, well, they're really going pretty choppily sideward. However, they may provide us some opportunities. Quite often after consolidation, there's a decent breakout and a push. So fingers crossed for this Friday may be it. Anyway, just very quickly skimming through these hourly charts. I'm looking at the euro dollar here at the moment. Well, it's had a little shove up in the last hour. After a huge consolidation, I say huge, but Asian session, very consolidated. It's had a bit of a shove already. Could push up towards the R1 there, the 50 MA sitting above it. And the shorter term time frame at the moment got a little bit of divergence, which may bring it back down. My preference with the direction of the market today is to the downside, so I'm just going to sit out of this one. I think at the moment with cable, it's become very, very choppy here. There's not much I can do immediately with this. It looks like it's going to break down rather early. I was hoping this breakdown here would have happened after 8 o'clock, but if it goes before, well, may have a little bit more of a look in terms of how to get into these markets this morning. Looking at how this was running, I was quite, well, this 100 MA may hold it, but I was quite happy waiting and maybe even taking a break of these lows this morning, these near-term lows. From here, though, I mean, the market is edging. Cable does look like it may be edging towards the downside, so I'll be looking at that as I run through the morning. And then the Aussie, let's look at the yen. I'm not really going to be trading it. I'm saying that, and it's probably put in over the last couple of days the best of trends. Got a bit overbought yesterday in dollar yen and sold off. But we're seeing yet another bounce. Well, this could push through. We did manage yesterday to try and break through the prior daily highs that had been sitting there, but that couldn't hold. So, well, we could be pushing up, back up. We'll give it a go. But it certainly looked like there was supply at these highs there. Okay, right, then looking at the Aussie dollar, and similar picture here, just selling off at the moment. So a little bit, but not the easiest to determine in terms of we end up with lots of periods where we just get into chop zones, but eventually it then breaks. But it's just managing to see if we can get a break. Anyway, it's a little bit of a summary before we get going. I'm going to be talking to the guys in the room now. I will switch this on as I'm talking to them from time to time, so please bear with me. So just looking at the pound dollar here, looking at a potential short into the 8 o'clock pivot. So going to get tickets ready. We've had a bit of a extreme here, may come down and give us a double divergence at least. So we're looking for a possible bit of price action off that. It ties in with a bigger picture of the slightly weaker lower highs, etc. Really having to be patient with these markets. They're just not ticking along at the moment. Just still sitting here. I'll keep on pausing this until we get pretty close to the trade. So just looking at the if we get an entry into the 8 o'clock pivot here to sell, I'm going to be putting roughly a 15 pip stop, but above that 50 MA. It starts pushing on beyond that level, well, it may be reversing and continuing to the upside. I could put it completely above the highs there, got enough space, but in terms of the risk reward on this trade, really looking down at the daily S1 at the moment, but there may be a partial profit target on the way, particularly as we've put in this extreme here. We may end up with a bit of a divergence. So getting ready to tickets are at the ready, he says. Making sure they are on both accounts. There we go. So ready, getting ready. Every time I press this record button, the currency seems to hold. So just going to have a look at the euro, because as much as we've seen what we've seen here, I would like to be short on the euro. I've looked at the 60-minute suggested, I'm liking this sort of bigger trend. We've had a bit of a retracement. I need to get a reasonable signal to get partially short on the euro and then may add into it. So really looking, we can take out this prior low here and start moving down, then get a retrace. It may give me an opportunity to get short. So again, it's one of those things I'm waiting for. Cable may be in the meantime. It's just tricking me. I was looking at another chart and it was started moving upwards as I was just about to say I'm going to switch back and just a tease. So see if we can watch the euro for a moment then. And again, this is a sort of play in terms of where we are. We got a bit pinched on the 4-hourly pivots because of the lack of volatility through the last two sessions, although obviously not as pinched as they have been. But I was really looking for the daily S1 area as an overall target, but would consider probably a partial profit exit. So if you just see if this can run down a bit further for us, break these lows properly. It's just about breaking these lows. If you can see a proper break of these lows and a bit of a retrace, I'm going to be back to the 8. I'll be looking for a short on the euro from there as well. If it does it early enough before we break the absolute lows here, well, then we've got a nice risk reward and probably going to have a decent risk reward anyway, even if we just if I look at the trend line that's running across there. So if I just bring that trend line into play, let me just pop that on there that I was looking at from earlier. That may just be a very aggressive entry. I just want to make sure we're not oversold on the 5 minutes if that happens, which is a possibility. So a bit of patience on these markets this morning at the moment. So whilst we've been looking at the euro, the pound didn't come up and set us up in a trade. It's diverged now, so it's off my radar for now. May still look at it later, but I'm just going to be patient and wait for something decent to set up. I don't want to be the risk reward when it sort of went early. Bear in mind it was likely to do a divergence, or I'll bring that back. It's likely to do a divergence move and maybe get a bit of a retrace, which it's doing at the moment. I really needed to pull all the way back, so I had some decent profit to be had down to the lows or any potential divergence. Keep an eye on the euro dollar again. At least we've got a proper break of these lows now, which I like. I just need a retracement to be selling into. Just looking at cable, it hasn't come back yet for its 8 o'clock pivot, so this divergence may let it come back there, and I may look at a smaller trade into that pivot if it comes back there. But at the moment, it's not even looking like it wants to. Euro, well, it's slow as well in terms of any possible retracement, which I like in a sense because it would suggest that it's going to be a strong downward momentum, but I may just have to take on a bit of a break. But I'm hoping it's not going to be oversold if it gets down there. Really rather break this and retrace. Cable's just gone without altogether. It's just pushing down further. Okay, so I'm looking at euro. If I may be taking a bit of it's struggling to get any backward traction at all here, but I may be looking at the smaller time frames and taking a short off that with a possible add-in. But I'm looking at the stops from the 8 moving average. Probably need maybe some 15 pip stop would be just keep us out the way a little bit more, give it a little bit more chance. If it starts breaking up towards those highs, well, it'll probably change direction anyway. But in terms of targets, I'll split the target exit anyway. We've got this S3, which will be coming in way before the sort of more preferred levels. It's not even getting up to its 2-minute 8 on this at the moment, so struggling to get into a trade. Preparing to take a partial short. I'll take this in, going to different parts on this maybe because it's just, I'd prefer that, this is a 2-minute chart I'm down to now. I'd rather the 2-minute 20 as an entry, but just waiting patiently. So I'm going to go into some units here. I'm going to start off in one coming up in, well, I'm going to take one there. I'm going to pop one in here. It's pausing. It may push up a little bit further, but I need to get back in and add some more. So get the ticket ready for the next one. So Again, looking for another one into, if we can push up a bit further into that 2-minute 21. Switch us back to a 5-minute chart, and you see we just, well, maybe just going off without any add-ins here. Quite aggressive, but the 5-minute 21 is about the same place as where the 2-minute 21 is. So looking at those sort of areas, there's the 8 moving average there and 21 moving average. Looking at both of those as possible add-ins. Okay, not looking like we're going to get an add-in here. There is a secondary aggressive add-in on the break of the lows here. It's risky. That 200 has already been tested. I may just wait for it to run through and maybe add another position in, but it's not necessarily where I want to be. Well, this market, at the moment, the retraces aren't really giving us too much, so we've got a 15 pip stop on the initial entry, but really looking to try and break this down, see this break down. Okay, just going to place the recording back on pause. Well, the market, the euro's been dicing around here. I could look at adding in on the break of the trend there. I think I may just hang in there with the position I'm in, and see what we can do with this. It's not running particularly quickly at the moment. It probably will do now I've said that. It's just, I could sell on the break here as well, but the way this is slowed down, it may just pull back in anyway. So as it is at the moment, it's trying to break. It's just flirting with the weekly pivot that's running across here, that 200. It's already tested it a few times now, and you'd expect that to break at some point, but it's just gone slow. So I think I'll just stick where I am. The euro's broken down without an add-in, unfortunately, but well, may still give another position. But now I'm thinking just holding this. Target area is really looking from here is the S2, 4-hourly S2. I could wait for it to hit the S1. There's plenty of, I mean, when you look at the daily range, there's plenty of opportunity for this to run down well over 80 pips, and so it may just be a long old hold. But for now, I'm just going to carry on putting this recording onto pause. Okay, so as we're pushing down here with the 5-minute divergence, I am looking, I'll just take half the trade off at just before the S2 area there. If it gets down there. Been asked would I consider moving the stop down. We could move the stop down. I was just looking actually at, I was going to move the stop down when we hit the first target. Now we're up around about 17 pips where we're sitting at the moment. If we can get up some more, I'd prefer it, but I mean effectively the argument now is, well, we're already 15 pips or beyond 15 pips, and we could move the stop to well, doesn't probably need to be 15 pips anymore, maybe above that 50 MA, just to give it a bit of wiggle room if we've got any divergence move, because we're on a divergence since this little midi here, and it'd be a shame just to get stopped out. So maybe instead of having it at 15 pips above entry, well, this is probably entry in the right place because we didn't get into the absolute entry there. We got in about there, so we can move the stop down to probably about +6 or 7 now. So it's a gradual move down for me. I'd move it down to break even if we get to, if we get to first target. So it just needs to be, for me, it just needs to be above. Give it some wiggle room. If this was, as I say, it's diverging on the RSI here. The good thing is the money flow is running low, so maybe that will help us continue running down towards that S2. So just pausing again for a moment. Okay, just resuming the video here, and as you can see, we've had a retrace back up almost to entry levels a short while ago. Now we may get back down again. This is going to be a bit of a tester because we need to see it breaking these lows here. I've been told by the guys in the room that I hadn't used the word aggressive because quite recently we've been taking some aggressive type entries, and whenever I do that, it seems to move a lot better. So we're going to get aggressive from now onwards. Cable was very aggressive. Look, it's what I hadn't noticed, it did pull back on the 2 minute back to its 8 MA, and I could have possibly got in partially there, which would have given us the daily bread, as they say. That came back. It's hit target. That was originally looking for at the S1. Could go on some more cable. It's so far for the daily range. It's only done 66 pips ish. 70. I mean, we often see in 80s and 90s. So at least you could yet follow on some more, but certainly would have given us our early morning targets nicely there if it just pulled back a little bit further. But it could be, so it hasn't hit the 8 o'clock pivot. It may be running for that, in which case we may see a closure on our euro for a small loss. We'll see. But at the moment, just holding in there. Okay, the euro unfortunately eventually worked its way back here, and is now, I'd say with the help of the news never really created much of a action immediately, but we're seeing some post-news action here, and it's pushed us out and just stopped us out for around about 6 pips on that trade. Now I'm looking across the markets, and I say it's not news related to the euro here, because we're seeing the pound rallying, the the yen coming off, so these are all moving together here. So more of a concerted move rather than a euro denominated move. So as we moved into 10 o'clock zone, it's not a period I like trading too much. If there's anything significant here that I could see, I'll possibly trade it, but I'm not in a dash to get into more trades in these markets. See what's happened on the hourly now on the euro, and it broke to the right side. What it was looking for, just couldn't get any sort of real momentum to this, what was originally a reasonable downward trending market from this hourly perspective. This may be just a sign that we've got a little bit sort of oversold yesterday. It did have a good bounce back to its daily pivot today, and now it's, well, if we can push on like this way, the only thing we've got to contend with is that hourly 50. If it hits the hourly 50, well, maybe we'll see a bigger correction. Cable in the meantime, where we're sitting at the moment, it's seeing a bit of a recovery. It has got its 8 o'clock pivot untouched above, and it could work way back onto that. So there's a possibility going against, well, there wasn't much of a trend. It's just put a series of lower highs in here. In fact, there's probably a decent channel running from this high across here at the moment. So it's just in a bit of a channel-y sort of movement going on at the moment. So nothing really going for us sort of from that perspective, apart from the potential push on upwards. Aussie dollar, whoops, let's click on here. Aussie dollar, not really going anywhere, just chopping along on this 5-minute time frame. It was looking like a potential of patterns shaping up a little while earlier, but just really chopping sideways, so it's nothing sitting there. So overall now I'm just going to sit and wait and see if there's anything else set up. Otherwise I'll call it a day, but for now I'm just putting the recording back on pause, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this morning just followed on much the same. We saw the euro and cable both recover. Good majority of this earlier sell-off. The euro obviously stopped us out earlier and on the news and just followed through really. At the moment, we're really seeing it come back into range. There's little I really want to be doing on Friday afternoon, which involves trading. So I'm going to wrap up the video here, but just to recap in terms of where we were and what we did in terms of shorting on the retrace, 2-minute retrace on euro just to get into the move this morning. But euro just didn't run the same as the others. It did give us a bit of a heads up that when it was about 17 pips up that there was a bit of a divergence going on. But at the end of the day, there was no other support sitting there, and it could have just as easily just retraced and continued in the move down. There's a good probability of it hitting the S1 at the time, or maybe as I was looking for the 2 4-hourly pivots, the S2 or even the S3 there, or the daily S1, which it may have run through to, but really those 2 4-hourly pivots were my targets. Unfortunately, just rallied and went up. Now we lost 6 pips on it. It's around about 6.5 pips. The thing is, risking 6.5 pips to make 30 or 40 pips, as it was at that point, made sense to me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but sometimes they do, and they're the ones that a few of those make up for these little tiny losses. Okay, that's it for me today. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll hopefully get back and do a recording for Monday morning. Take care.